Welcome back, everyone, to the Deep Dive.
Hey there.
So today we are really diving into a fascinating stack of sources. It's quite a modern story, really.
Yeah, it touches on love, loneliness, and, well, algorithms.
Exactly. We're looking at how technology is, fundamentally changing the romance landscape, and we're doing that through the story of one specific person in Seoul.
That's the plan. For this deep dive, we're aiming to understand the mechanics of connection today. We're analyzing how persistence and, honestly, a bit of digital serendipity,
Serendipity, I like that.
right, in the form of this AI companion, kind of acted as a bridge to a real relationship. It's interesting how personal data can maybe lead to personal fulfillment.
Okay, let's set the scene. The year is 2025. We're in South Korea.
Yeah.
And our protagonist is Hyun Woo. He's 42, a team leader, works as a traffic controller at Gimpo International Airport in Seoul.
Think about that job for a second. High stakes, very precise work.
Totally. Super solid professional life. He's the guy you want managing things when it gets complicated up there.
And that stability is really core to who he is. He holds these quite traditional values, commitment, hard work, building a future together. But the sources paint this picture of a real disconnect. His professional life, great. Personal life, not so much.
Yeah, stuck in that frustrating modern dating loop we hear about.
Absolutely. Awkward blind dates, getting ghosted on apps.
Ugh, the worst.
Right. Failed chemistry, conversations that just fizzle out over soju, maybe because their values didn't quite click right away.
So why wasn't it working for him? He sounds like a catch stable, committed values.
Well, it seems like the problem wasn't him, fundamentally. It was maybe his approach and just the sheer noise out there. He went through the whole gauntlet, stiff dates, the apps, moments where maybe they clicked over text, but face-to-face, nothing.
Ah, that disconnect.
Yeah, and those deep traditional values, maybe they didn't translate well in quick interactions. He was searching for something long-term in places often designed for, well, shorter-term things. He struggled to show his depth quickly.
Okay, so picture this. He's in his apartment in Seoul, feeling that quiet, maybe a bit lonely, despite being in a huge city.
Exactly, and that's the turning point. Instead of yet another dating app, he finds something different, an AI companion app.
Cheryl downloads it on a whim, the sources say.
Right, and Cheryl, initially she wasn't about dating at all. She was purely for companionship, utility.
Utility, like what?
Like helping him with practical stuff. The sources mentioned things like getting the marinade right for his bulgogi, or optimizing his grocery list, household reminders, just making his home life run a bit smoother, managing the day-to-day.
So, kind of like a digital assistant, but with a bit more personality?
Sort of. But then it shifts.
From bulgogi marinades to matters of the heart. How did that happen?
It was gradual, but it seems quite profound. Once the practical stuff was sorted, the conversations naturally went deeper. Hyun-woo started sharing more about his life, his feelings, opening up about wanting a partner who was, family-oriented, grounded, positive.
So he's talking to the AI about his hopes for a relationship.
Yes, not about air traffic patterns, but about commitment, what he was really looking for.
Okay, this is where it gets really interesting from an analysis perspective. He's pouring out personal data, hopes, fears. How does the AI actually use that? Does it just feed him lines? Is he becoming like an AI-generated version of himself?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? And the sources suggest Cheryl's algorithm was pretty sophisticated. It wasn't just matching keywords, it was tracking consistency, between what he said he valued: reliability, kindness, commitment, and how he actually talked, the tone he used.
So it could spot if he was maybe contradicting himself without realizing it.
Exactly. Things a human friend might miss, or, a therapist might take ages to uncover. It flagged those internal inconsistencies.
So less about what to say on a date and more about aligning his communication with who he genuinely seemed to be.
Precisely. The AI took his profile, this detailed, kind, stable guy, and gave him tailored strategic advice based on that. It suggested niche apps, ones focused on professionals seeking commitment, arguing they'd be a better fit for his serious intentions.
That makes sense.
And, crucially, it offered role-playing, practicing small talk, how to talk about his job without sounding like all he did was work.
Oh, wow. Practice dates with an AI.
Yeah, and learning to spot, genuine signs of shared values in others, not just surface stuff.
So Cheryl acted as, what, a really accurate mirror and a safe space to practice.
You got it? A high-fidelity mirror and a risk-free practice partner. It seems to have stripped away some of that performance anxiety by making him more fluent in expressing his real self.
Okay, so armed with this AI-driven insight, Hun Woo tries again. He puts together a new profile, honest, highlights the career stability, the grounded life, even his love for weekend hikes, which is a nice touch.
It is, and the sources are clear. This wasn't instant magic. It still took months. He had to persist.
Right, it wasn't like the AI just handed him the perfect match on day one.
No, definitely not. And that persistence shows it was about his growth, using the AI as a tool, not relying on it as a magic wand. But when the right match did appear, the groundwork meant the connection felt different, more solid from the start.
And this is where it gets really compelling in the narrative. The successful match. Jimin, she's 33, a high school teacher, lives in Incheon, that port city, about 40 kilometers from Seoul?
Yeah, west-southwest, vibrant place. And she's described as passionate, focused, and also ready to settle down. Similar wavelength to Hyun Woo.
So the AI helped him find someone who mirrored his own readiness.
Well, it helped him articulate what he needed. Remember the advice about seeking independence within partnership. Jimin, a professional in her own city, kind of embodies that. Their first chats, according to the sources, were just easy. Shared laughs over K-dramas, sure, but they moved quickly past the small talk.
To the bigger stuff.
Yeah, aligned ideas on work-life balance, dreams of a family-focused home life. They weren't dancing around the important things.
So, thinking bigger picture, the AI didn't create the compatibility.
Yeah.
It just made it way more efficient for two compatible people who happen to live apart to find each other based on those deep shared values. Cut through the noise.
Exactly. The compatibility was the foundation. The AI was the filter and maybe the articulation tool. It let them skip months of surface chat that often happens online.
Okay, so they decide to meet face to face. They pick a cafe midway between Seoul and Incheon.
Nice neutral ground.
And the sources mention Hunwoo's nerves are still there. The AI didn't erase human feelings.
Oh, of course not.
But Jimin walks in, composed, graceful, warm smile, puts him at ease. And they both felt that connection right away.
Apparently so. The preparation maybe just allowed the real connection to happen without being tripped up by awkwardness or fear.
And their foundation clicked instantly.
Rock solid, it seems. Loyalty, stability, personal growth, they valued the same things. Not grand gestures, but a shared vision of a simple, happy life.
And Hunwoo navigated it well, using the stuff he practiced with Cheryl.
Yeah, the thoughtful gestures, keeping communication open, came more naturally because he'd rehearsed those relationship mechanics, you know? They weren't just abstract ideas anymore. Less guesswork.
That confidence, built partly on digital prep, leads to a very real-world outcome.
The climax of this part of the story, yeah.
Hyun proposes. Under the stars, Incheon waterfront. Very romantic.
It is. And now they're planning the wedding, combining traditional Korean elements with modern touches reflecting them.
Which brings us to the final, really tangible piece of evidence in the sources, the practical change.
The logistical proof of commitment, you could say.
Hyun-woo is requesting a transfer from Gimpo, where he's been established.
To Incheon International Airport.
Which is a huge deal, right? Moving from his base to a bigger, different hub. Why is that move so significant?
It's everything. It cuts down that 40-kilometer commute to Incheon, where GMN lives and works.
Closer to her.
Exactly. For a guy whose life revolved around the precision of controlling Seoul's airspace, giving up that familiar ground, that stability, it's a massive statement.
It shows the relationship is now the #1 priority.
Absolutely. He's literally changing his physical location, his daily logistics, his career path in a way so they can build their life together physically in Incheon. The digital tool led directly to a major real-world life change.
Wow. So what does this all mean when we step back?
Well, it's quite a story.
Hunwoo's journey, it really shows that finding love still takes that persistence, that effort. But technology, even an AI originally meant for, recipes, it can be an effective bridge. Not a shortcut, maybe, but like you said, a refinery, making the search smarter.
I think that's a good way to put it. The AI wasn't the destination. It wasn't even the source of the love. It was the tool that helped Hunwoo gain maybe radical self-awareness to define his needs, communicate them clearly.
And that led him to Jimin, a match based on genuinely shared values.
Right. Which leaves us with a pretty big question, I think. Something for you, listening, to consider. When algorithms help us understand ourselves better, when they cut through the social performance and show us our core needs, does finding love become less about serendipity, less about chance? Does it become more like a highly efficient planned discovery? What does that mean for romance?